Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. I never thought a single conversation could unravel the life I had spent 2 decades building, but here I am, staring at the remnants of a marriage I thought would last forever. My name is Mark and I was 52 years old when it happened. My wife, Karen, had been my partner, my confidant, the woman I believed I would grow old with. We shared a house, raised 2 amazing kids, and built a life together that many would envy. I thought our marriage was unshakable, a fortress built on years of mutual trust and shared dreams. How wrong I was. It all started on a Tuesday evening. I had returned home from work earlier than usual, excited to spend some quiet time with Karen before the kids came home from school. The house smelled faintly of her perfume, the one I had loved since our college days. Everything seemed normal. The kettle was on the stove and a soft jazz record played in the background. She greeted me with her usual smile, but there was something in her eyes I couldn't place. It wasn't anger or sadness. It was something heavier, something I didn't want to face. I asked her about her day, trying to keep the conversation light, but her responses were short, clipped. Then, out of nowhere, she sat down across from me, took a deep breath, and said words that would forever change my life. "Mark, there's something I need to tell you. Something I've been hiding." Her voice was calm, almost unnervingly so. I felt my stomach twist. There are many things someone can say when they need to confess, and some I had prepared myself for: financial mistakes, personal struggles, even health issues, but I was not prepared for this. "What is it?" I asked, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. She looked down at her hands, fidgeting with a bracelet I didn't recognize her wearing before. "I've been seeing someone else," she said softly, almost as if she were confessing to a stranger. My world froze. The words hung in the air like an invisible weight pressing down on me. My mind refused to accept them at first. I thought perhaps I had misheard, or maybe she was joking. But her eyes told the truth. There was no humor, no remorse masking the words. Just a blunt, cold reality. I felt 1,000 emotions surge at once: shock, disbelief, anger, betrayal. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, to understand why. But I didn't. I simply sat there, listening as she continued, detailing the months she had spent hiding this affair, how it began with a friend of hers from work, how she had tried to convince herself it was harmless at first, how it had grown into something she couldn't control. Every word she spoke felt like a hammer hitting the foundation of my life. By the time she finished, I was numb. I couldn't speak, couldn't move, couldn't even breathe properly. The room felt smaller, suffocating. I remembered our kids' laughter echoing from the backyard the previous evening, the innocence of the life we had shared, and suddenly it all felt like it belonged to someone else. I wanted to reach out, to touch her hand, to tell her that somehow we could fix this, but I didn't. Something inside me had broken, quietly, irrevocably. Karen tried to reach for my hand, but I pulled back. I didn't know what I needed at that moment. Anger? Forgiveness? Revenge? I had no idea. All I knew was that the person I had trusted with my heart for 20 years had betrayed me in a way I never imagined possible. She spoke of guilt, of regret, of wanting to end the affair, but the damage had already been done. Trust, once shattered, cannot simply be repaired with words. The rest of that evening was a blur. We didn't speak much after that, the silence between us growing heavier with each passing minute. I wandered through the house, touching the furniture, the pictures on the wall, each object suddenly foreign to me, relics of a life I no longer recognized as mine. Karen tried to explain herself again, but I couldn't listen. I just wanted the world to stop, to pause so I could gather my thoughts, so I could process the impossibility of the moment. When the kids came home, the house was tense. I forced a smile, tried to act normal, but they noticed something was wrong. My daughter, Sophie, asked if everything was okay, her innocent eyes searching mine for reassurance. I hugged her tightly, whispering that everything was fine even though I knew it wasn't. My son Ethan was quieter, perhaps sensing the storm that had silently rolled into our home. I wanted to shield them from the truth, to delay the inevitable confrontation, but deep down I knew there was no hiding reality from them. Later that night, after the kids had gone to bed, Karen and I sat in the living room. The tension was unbearable. I finally spoke, my voice calm but cutting. "How long?" I asked. She swallowed hard, avoided my gaze and whispered, "Almost a year." I felt a wave of nausea and anger simultaneously. A year. 12 months of deceit, hidden from me, lived in lies. Every shared dinner, every conversation, every smile, tainted. I stood up, pacing the room, trying to make sense of it all. I realized that this wasn't just about the affair. It was about the erosion of the foundation of our marriage, the betrayal of trust, the destruction of everything I had worked so hard to build. I had always thought that love could conquer all, that two people committed to each other could weather anything. But love without respect, trust without honesty, is fragile, easily broken. Karen tried to explain again, tears in her eyes now, pleading for understanding, for forgiveness, for a chance to make it right. But I felt none of the warmth I once did. The connection that had bound us for 20 years was severed, quietly, permanently. I realized that forgiveness wasn't the answer, not this time. Some wounds don't heal and some betrayals are too deep to ignore. The following morning she left for work as if nothing had changed, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I walked through our house, now eerily quiet, feeling the absence of the life we had shared. I thought about the future, about the impossibility of returning to the way things were, and I felt an unexpected sense of clarity. This was the end. Not with a fight, not with an argument, but with the silent acknowledgement that our marriage, no matter how long it had lasted, could not survive this breach.